Islamic teaching has always been that in the light of Quran and Sunnah, whatever fitna, whatever evil, whatever problem is picked up, that this is going to be the next problem of the next era. In the Arabic language there's a phrase, in English it means that the flick, that small flame, no matter how small it is, he says control it while it's small. Because when it spreads after that, you can't control the fire. What we have noticed in recent times, and what I will speak about, is two things that are really affecting our Muslim communities in a manner which we never thought would affect so badly. The first one is what we today call, it came with different names, it's called healing therapies. We all knew doctors, we knew Western medicine, we never liked it also. Once upon a time it was called herbal medication, it had no side effects. Then medicine came into the world, Western medicine. When Western medicine entered, it entered from the West. In America at that time, besides herbal doctors, there was no other doctors. Whoever studied how that what we call today Western medication came into the market, and how it made the herbalists look bad, and how it showed that Western medication is the best. But as the days went on and on, nowadays many people have realized that the amount of side effects, the amount of poison in Western medication, but it was never told in the beginning. It was made that this is the only medication. But medicine in the end of the day was not going to harm a person's aqeedah. It wasn't going to hit at someone's iman. The most that it would do is, herbal medication would give you a healthy body. Medication that we have today, what we call Western medication, it helps you for a while and it causes a lot of poison within you. Later on in life, man suffers. But it was never going to hit the iman of an individual. Then we came to an era now where something new came into the market, which has loudly proclaimed, and which is right, that there's a lot of harm in Western medication. That is definitely right. And it should have then said, rather let's go back to herbal medication. That a plant treatment with no poison. But from that it never go that way, it went the other way. Let's go on to something called mental medication, mental therapy, healing remedies where I don't touch you at all, but I enter into your mind. With different words which the world never heard about, body talk. That a small child will be made to sit in front of a teacher. The teacher will look at the mind, control the mind, will enter into the mind. The child is troubling at home. None of us ever saw in era. Once upon a time, a child troubling at home was part of life. Children have to trouble. In today's era, if a child troubles in school, the first thing the mother will be told, that he has a mental problem. So bringing him into a therapist. In the past, when someone went for therapy, you would say he's a mad person. Today the mother, the child is only first class, first day in school, already she's taking the child for body talk. In that body talk, someone has entered the mind of the child, spoken to the child. Whether you know it's happening or not, it's very big. And it's not big amongst men, it is big amongst women. Our women. They are memorizing it, learning it, mastering it. They have gone in levels of this year with different names. The other day one person brought to me an entire book manual. So you will hear now something called chakra. We never heard these words before. Chakra means that your body has certain power points. If you can learn your power points, then the powers that are in the world, you can draw it into your body. Once upon a time, if you ever heard this here, we would say this is like some Chinese magic. One person will sit, he'll close his eyes and say, my leg is paining. And now with my chakra, that word itself is such a terrible word. But the people are going for it. Good people are going for it. So when one person asks this question, that what is wrong in this field? And you will hear about it. In our time it's now called body talks. Then it is called perhaps emotional therapies. And then it carries on to names that you have never imagined before. But because it works so well, if a person who could not get remedy from depression is finding remedy by one woman or man who can enter their mind, and he can remove all the stress of the past, and he can tell him meditate and bringing all the powers of the world to yourself. If your leg is paining, why take medicine? Treat your leg by meditating about. So the man will sit. He will position his body in a certain manner. And he will start drawing from all the sources. And when he will see that the pain in the leg is gone, after that, if that man is told that if there's a need for you to go one level higher, and that is where the problem is now coming. Whoever has gone into this body talk, into this mental therapy, two things are happening. One is the patient who's being affected, and one is the one who's doing it, the doctor. The patient who's being affected, which is many of our young children. In one place I gave a bayan, the next day so many emails came, where husband said, yesterday my wife, a day before, last week my wife, she took my child for her mental therapy, because the child was troubling in school. So many youngsters are being taken. The harm to the patient mind of ours and this heart of ours is ours. The day you let somebody else enter your mind or heart, when that individual enters the mind to remove something, they also have the ability to instill something also. If they can make you forget a problem you had yesterday, they can also instill a seed which is called a doubt on your Allah. That boy might grow up having one doubt. They can instill a feeling that there's nothing wrong being a homosexual. That boy will now grow up questioning his parents, that why do you all say this is wrong? They will never understand why did he ever think it's not wrong. But you allow someone to enter your mind and heart, to remove the dirt and the filth that is there. That same individual has the ability to plant something in that heart also. That is the harm that will come to the patient. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save all our children, all our families. We got a headache, carry on taking Panado. Panado itself got so much of harm, but the harm of it is restricted to the physical body. Read your Bismillah and take it. Read Bismillah illadhi la yadurru and take it. That in the name of that Allah, nothing harms in heavens and earth without His permission. Medicine has its problems, but it can only harm the physical body. In this next therapy that the world is now going to, this is a direct attack on the iman of people through the system of I'll give you cure, you give me your faith. Pain will be removed, difficulty will be removed, but open up your mind. Harm number one to the patient, that once something was removed, something can also be instilled. Harm number two to the patient, when you allow your mind and heart to be opened for someone to enter, even the teacher, the one reading, does not understand that when that window has opened up for Mr. A to enter, the jinn also are able to enter. The jinnat in the previous times never had so much of influence on our Muslim people like they have today. It was a few years ago when drugs were created. Drugs opened up the first window of the jinn. Whoever took a drug was going to be knocked with the jinnat. A boy would pull out of drugs. One of the things he would say, I see them chasing me. I see a train coming for me. At night I can feel them. I see them. I hear them. They're all around me. They would ask what relationship drugs got with the jinn. Many a time he would say, drugs opens a window, the jinn enter. When the jinn enter, it's very hard to get the jinn out of your life. This emotional therapy is like that drug. It is opening a window, but the child never have to take the drug. You allow that window to open at that delicate age of 6 years old. If jinnat start hitting that small mind of your child, if the jinnat hits a big person, he becomes finished. If that small child's simple mind is open for every and everyone, he got a headache, send him for therapy. He's fighting in class, send him for therapy. He was rude to me, send him for therapy. He lost his father and mother when they were small, send him for therapy. What was our sunnah? What was our deen? When you got a problem, teach the child. Your power and your source of getting strength is in Allah through dua. That child was supposed to tell you got a problem, start reading Quran and making dua. You lost your mother and father, start reading Quran and make dua. Strength is in dua. But instead of dua, man was looking for a medication to remove all his problems. There is such a big fear that in the search of the medication of the future, there will be so many people whose iman will be taken. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save us all. So it was an indication in that field with what last sentence, that someone asked, they said, I studied this field and I looked through the syllabus and I could not find anything wrong in it. Rather, in the books that I got, it even starts with the name of Allah. Even if it is called the Kabbalah. In today's time, those people who are studying it, they are told, go and buy the Kabbalah. Kabbalah was always known as ancient Jewish magic. But now for our Muslim people to be learning the Kabbalah, to be doing it and then to say, I looked at it, there's nothing wrong. So when someone mentioned to me, I ended on this sentence, I said the biggest problem with the science is that on level 1 there is nothing wrong. Had it been so clear-cut wrong, any and every believer would have looked at it and said, this is haram, this is evil, this is dirt. But when you want a fire to start and you want it to start, you don't start the fire. You will have to start it in a manner that no one sees the fire starting. You will have to put that flame somewhere that no one's mind sees it. There must be no smoke, there must be no sign. Stage 1 of the science is so clean, that even if an alim and an alima studies it, they will say, besides benefit, I see no harm. The problem is when you come to stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. And you see so much of benefit. Already we have heard of Muslim women. They have reached that level on this year that now we have to go out. That in this there's a principle, women must travel alone. They must go on their own holidays. To work in the science, in this body talk, they have to travel. So in the past example, husbands would get together, they say, let's go 40 days Jamaat. Now women are getting together and say, let's go 3 days, 4 days to America. So there's a whole group of women are going. If the poor husband says, can I come with? They say, not allowed. We need our free time. Never we heard about this where women will go. What are women going to do when they go? From one of the few reports that came to us, there was that group of good Muslim women busy with this body talk and going on to another level. They were taken to that level by the guide, who explained that the powers of the world will come more in your body if your clothing is removed. So many Muslim women sat in a group, they had their basic clothing on, they took out their clothing to understand that to grab the powers. Our Islam brought more and more clothing back onto their bodies. With this one thing that look for your cure, even that clothing they started taking it out. That level they reached. What levels can go beyond that? We met one individual who said, I went in this to a very high level. Until the time came where I said to those people who had brought me, that I cannot do, my iman will not allow me to do what you'll want. Instead I was told that after entering this, there is no pulling back. They said, now if you refuse, we will bring you down from where we brought you. This man said to me that in the science I reached a very high level of wealth. When I refused to do what they wanted me to do, I saw my whole business collapse. It's not an easy exam. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save me, you and our children. This mental therapy which got to do with the mind and the heart will not take a step towards it. Be happy how we are. If medicine cannot give me sickness, to not go to this, to cannot give me health, then to not go to that extra step. That health becomes so important in my life that even if it has to be at the expense of my iman, it's worth it. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save us all. The second fitan that we are seeing and hearing a lot about now is what is called, a series has been made, it's called The Messiah. Normally the older people, in the past we would say the older people won't know about this, but nowadays we know that even the older people, they are more glued on their phones than even the youngsters. That poor child is gone to school, when he's gone, granny takes his phone, and she's also watching what he was watching. When the child comes home, the child is speaking, granny is also speaking. So this Messiah is a series, like how many series of films come out. A movie is one that it's a 2 hour or 1 hour or 3 hour something. A series is something that becomes part of your life. That you live in it. You cry with it. You wait every day, what's going to happen tomorrow? So this series, the Messiah, came out at a very unique time. And it came out in a very unique manner. And it hit many, many non-Muslim and Muslim families. That word, the Messiah. And the plot behind this. So those who haven't seen it, Allah save us all, we don't have to see it. And we never ever see it. As for those who have heard about it, and it gave us a chance to speak about something which perhaps hasn't been spoken about loud from the mimbar for a very long time. It is called the issue of Dajjal. What is this issue? How it is? How it's going to portray and bring itself out? And how every Muslim was told from day one, be ready for it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam described Dajjal in many, many ways. Sahabi radiyallahu anh says, خَفَّضَ وَرَفَّعَ. The manner he spoke, he dropped his voice, he raised his voice. He said, we actually thought that Dajjal is sitting in that bush. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam went away. When he came back, he saw we were all worried. He said, what has made you worried? They said, you mentioned the issue of Dajjal in such a terrible manner. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam then would explain in detail. Many a time he would speak about Dajjal, and many a time he would speak of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Some narrations he would speak of them together. He would say, I saw Isa alayhi salam, he looks like this. Then he would say, فَعَرِفُوهُ, recognize Isa alayhi salam. Then he would say, and I saw Dajjal. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in a very unique manner gave a name to Dajjal. Dajjal first, me and you, what we think it's his name, that will not be his name. Because if a man comes to you and he says, my name is Dajjal, then even, or if he comes and he says to the non-Muslim, I am the Antichrist, then even a non-Muslim will pull away from him. Dajjal means Dajjal. Dajjal means to be able to decorate something in such a manner that even the master will think this is genuine. You have gold, but if someone makes a fake coin, the master of money and gold will hit it 2 times and he will say fake. Dajjal shows that you can make a coin that even the master hits it and he will not be able to pick up it is fake. This is the meaning of Dajjal. To be able to decorate and cover something in such a manner that when the person sees it, even if 10 people tell him this is wrong, he will say, let me study it properly, and then he will tell you, I looked at everything, it's right. That's the meaning of Dajjal. So Dajjal is that the master of deception. When he will come in the world, we will not pick him up. Had it been so easy to pick him up, then there would have been no need for it to be called a huge fitna that the world will see. We will not pick him up. So Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam planted a seed in the beginning of Islam. There's a normal law, if you plant a seed, it's called fitrat. It's part of your nature. A child, when he grew up and he heard the word vegetables is good, whole life he'll eat vegetables. But if that child, when he's a young boy, is told by his friend, vegetables, it will be one seed, he'll never eat vegetables after that. He will not know why, he will just say, I can't eat it. It is called a seed. Whatever seed gets planted, your results after that will be based on that. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam planted a seed. He created within us the reality of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, and he showed us the filth of what is called Al-Masih ad-Dajjal. But look at the word now he used. He described Dajjal with the word Al-Masih. Al-Masih means this very thing what the series was called, the Messiah. Nabi Isa alayhi salam is Masih, the Messiah. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about another who will act like the Messiah. So Al-Masih ad-Dajjal, our English translation of it, you can call it Antichrist, that won't work here. It will call the one who will act like Isa alayhi salam. The one who will act so well like Isa alayhi salam that people who will look at him will say, this is Jesus. This is Nabi Isa alayhi salam. So very fast, let us explain to you what was Isa alayhi salam. Nabi Isa alayhi salam's first coming in the world was described in Quran. Isa alayhi salam was miraculous from day one, and everyone likes miracles. He was born without a father. When the people accused his mother, they said, how can you have a child without having relations? Maryam radiallahu anha was ordered by Jibreel alayhi salam, don't talk. So she just showed the people, I am fasting. And then she pointed to Isa alayhi salam, فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ قَالُوا, the people said, كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ? How can we speak to someone who's in the cradle? مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. Isa alayhi salam's first miracle, قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. From the cradle he spoke, he said, I am the servant of Allah. Everyone went, wow. Nabi Isa alayhi salam, as he grew up, he would come to the maktab. His mother sent him to madrasa. In the madrasa, what the ustad was going to teach, just before saying something, Nabi Isa alayhi salam would say to him, hold on, let me tell you what you are going to teach today. And then he would teach it, and he would teach it even better than the teacher. Now those young boys would all go home, and they'll say, this boy is miraculous. The news of Isa alayhi salam started spreading. As a young boy, Isa alayhi salam would tell his friend, وَأُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا تَأْكُلُونَ وَمَا تَدَّخِرُونَ فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ. He would say to his friends, today when you go home, your mommy is going to have this food for you. That young boy would go, he would find the food, he would say, my friend, Isa said this. The mother would say, who's this Isa? The parents, some of them were getting amazed by him, but the leaders were becoming irritated with him. They were enjoying a high position, whatever their position was. Isa alayhi salam was pulling everyone's attention. Now those boys came and said, my mother is very angry with you. وَمَا تَدَّخِرُونَ. Nabi Isa alayhi salam would tell the boy, forget what your mother said to you about me bad. If you go in your house, you will see your mother is hiding this food also. The one she gave you, she got, this one is being hidden. وَمَا تَدَّخِرُونَ. That boy would go home, he'll say, mommy, my friend said to me, you keeping something hidden is, and he would go look, and the mother would get shocked. Nabi Isa alayhi salam started having an impact. He was only small. As he started growing, وَيُبْرِئُ الْأَكْمَهَ وَالْأَبْرَصَ. Medicine in his time had reached a unique level. Isa alayhi salam was one level higher than that. The leper could not be cured. Nabi Isa alayhi salam went to the person who had leprosy, he rubbed his hand. One meaning of Masih was he will rub his hand over your face. Where medicine could not cure, Nabi Isa alayhi salam gave cure. وَيُبْرِئُ الْأَكْمَهَ. That boy who was born blind, in their era medicine could not get that eyesight back. Nabi Isa alayhi salam rubbed his hand. He said, in the name of Allah, the boy started looking. Which mother, which father does not want the health of their child? Nabi Isa alayhi salam had the leaders of the time hating him, but they could not do what he could do. He would go amongst the weak people. He would take a clay. He would make a bird. He'd say, and I will fashion a bird out of clay. Some ulama explain it was a bat, because the bat is the hardest of the animals that fly to be able to carve. Or it could be any bird. He would carve it out. They would say, what game are you playing? Like you're playing with clay. He would carve a bird. وَأَخْلُقُ مِنَ الطِّينِ كَهَيْئَةِ الطَّيْرِ. And then from the sand I will make something like a bird. And then he would say, move by the permission of Allah. And that bird or that bat would start flying in the air. And everyone will go, amazing. Nabi Isa alayhi salam, that was his first coming. He was a da'i to the world. Every action of his was a mu'jiza. And the highest level of his mu'jiza, وَأُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. That he would go past a dead person, and he would say, with the permission of Allah, stand. And the dead person would stand. He would speak for a while. Very few of them lived for more than a few days. He would speak to the people around him, and then he would go back in his grave. Nabi Isa alayhi salam's every action was creating what we call ripples in his. So wherever he was moving, and Isa alayhi salam moved around. That was Nabi Isa alayhi salam's first. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam described Nabi Isa alayhi salam's second coming. Remember the second, especially in the hadith where he said, فَعْرِفُوهُ, that you must recognize him when he comes. Nabi Isa alayhi salam's second coming, he will not now come to make miracles anymore. Nabi Isa alayhi salam's second coming will not that he will make now a bird and he will give life to it. In Nabi Isa alayhi salam's second coming, he will not rub his hand over the leper. He will not be giving sight to the blind. He will not be telling the dead come alive. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, by the qasam of Allah, لَيَنْزِلَنَّ فِيكُمْ ibn Maryam, the son of Maryam is going to now just descend into you. He explained the descent will be at a time when the war is on. He said he will come down, you will see him. His hands will be on the two shoulders of angels. One angel on this side, one on that. He described his clothing so that when you see him, you will pick up in the clothing, this is him. He said it will be two garments, lower, top and bottom. It will have a yellowish color. He said, فَعْرِفُوهُ, when you see him, recognize him. The main for me and you is, when Isa alayhi salam will come the second time, he will not come and walk around the people. He will come in the middle of a war. He will not come and give a call to the world for peace. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَلَيَكْسِرَنَّ الصَّلِيبِ, he will come to break the cross. He will come in the war. He will say to the Muslim army, it will be time of the iqamah. The Imam will say to him, oh Nabi Isa, go front. He will say, I have come on a mission. He said, Allah has given honor to the people of this ummah, that you all are imams for the other. You will perform the salah. Later on he will perform, but not that salah. He will say, I have come with a mission at the moment. I have come to destroy who? I read one writing of a Christian man. The Jews from the beginning never believed in Nabi Isa alayhi salam. The Christians believe, they call him Jesus. And in their own Bible it's written that another false Jesus will come, Jesus. So one Christian wrote this. He said, before the second coming of Jesus, a false Jesus will come. He said, oh my Christian brothers, please remember this, because I fear when he comes, he will look so much like Jesus that you will believe him to be Jesus. That was them. But the amount that me and you in Islam have been told, Al-Masihud Dajjal. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, before Nabi Isa alayhi salam comes, someone else will come. He will cure the leper. He will cure the blind. He said he will have the jinn around him. He will show you your father who passed away, your mother who passed away. He will show miracles which will make the world go. He spoke about every miracle in detail, because me and you get shocked with miracles. He said he will go to a person and he will say to him, do you not believe that I am your Rabb? And the man will say, why should I not? As he says that, he will see his animals coming, and the others will be nice and full of milk. Their sides will be full. His vegetation will be coming out so well. And then he will go to another person and he will say, do you not believe I'm your Rabb? And the man will say no. But when he will say no, it will be like a cry. He won't do anything. He won't tell his soldiers, come and destroy this man. The wording in the narration comes, he will just turn away. It's like one sheikh came to the town. He said, will you not give me dawat? So the person said that, no, I won't give you. You are fraud. He said, okay. As soon as that sheikh starts walking, some child gets sick in the house. He starts screaming for his life. That wife will give the husband one shot and say, go call that sheikh back. When he will make that turn, that entire farm will just collapse. That entire farm will collapse. At that time, I want you to think, what will be the imtihan of that iman, of that individual? He said no, and everything went. Rasulullah ﷺ said the hardest of the exams of this liar will be when he will say to someone, I will kill you and bring you alive. Then will you believe me to be the Rabb? Allah's Nabi ﷺ said, but he will only do that on one individual. And that individual will be so brimming with youth and iman, that when he will be brought back to life, he will be cut in half. He will be brought back. It will all be not what we call today magic. It will be in the use of what science has now brought a level, but he will bring it within him. You will see one man telling you, I know you, I know your mother, I know your grandmother. He will have that knowledge what the computers of the world have. It will be him. They call it one artificial intelligence. When he will come at that time, he will not come like a monster and he say, I am the great Dajjal. He will come as a simple man, walking in the world, calling for peace. And he will say, I am the Messiah. I have come to bring the Muslims and the Jews together. I have come to help the weak. I have come to help the poor. I want everyone to rise. At that time, the Jews will be with him. The Christians, they will see Jesus. This is Jesus for them. Very few will ever see what they Jesus. The one Christian brother wrote that before Jesus, a lying Jesus will come. The problem is me and you, who have been given so many ahadith, that there is a word called Al-Masihud Dajjal, that there will be a lying Jesus. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala not make it that on that day when Hazrat Mehdi's army will be on one side, but because of some thought that was planted in our mind, perhaps because of the series called The Messiah, at that time when a man is seeing one man's farm is being made, one man is rich, poor man becoming rich, sick child becoming better, and a man is at that moment put between the exam of being with the army of Al-Mahdi, but not enjoying the wealth of the world, the health of the world, the happiness of the world, or being in the army of what is called a lying Isa, where it's peaceful, it's relaxing, wealth is coming, ease is coming, animals is coming. Right at the ending, we say when the ship is reaching, right at the end. Because after Dajjal, the game is over. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala brought us right till the stage with Iman, right till the stage. May it not happen right at the ending, when that major fitna starts, right at the ending, we just collapse. Just the shore was just there that Nabi Isa alayhi salam is on the verge of coming. It's a few days. When Isa alayhi salam will come, he will rub his hands over the heads of those people who saw that final exam, trying to say to them, very well done. Meaning, what an exam. This Messiah series is to create a seed, to plant a seed in the children and the people who will watch it. That we become ready for the coming of a Jesus. But it will not be a Jesus, it will be a liar. It will be a fraud. It will be what we call a Dajjal. But if you watch the series, it will create so much of love within your hearts for a lying shaitan, for something which we call kufr in itself, that as you go through the series, every night you'll only be thinking of Dajjal, of the lying Masih. You will fall in love with him. And if someone later on comes and says, but he is Dajjal, then you will say, if he's Dajjal, then Dajjal is someone good, he is not someone bad. This is what the series will do. And if we have to find that error, may Allah save us, then at that moment it will be very hard, after our mind was programmed to love him, then to reprogram it so fast and say, I now hate him. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save us all. Who knows why they brought the series out now? Normally a movie is brought, a series is brought to prepare the mind that in the next you are going to see it. How many years time this will happen? Who knows if we will see it, if our children will see it. But when poison is put out in small amounts, the one who takes small, he is going to die. You don't have to take big amounts. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save us from all the coming fitans. Recognize the fitna, make dua protection from the fitna, and then make an effort that how much our iman is valuable. We are at the last part of this mission, of this moving of the ship. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala make our ship of iman reach the shore safely. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.